I see it with Ovechkin ultimately is like it's about time that someone broke that record and it's the right person to break it. I think McDavid will ultimately then break Ovechkin's record. I mean, it's kind of like LeBron. Like everyone keeps saying Ovechkin's going to leave or do whatever, but he's still playing at a very high level for being 41 years old.
To be fair, I don't think anybody's ever touching Gretzky's points. I mean,
I think Crosby was the closest. I think, and his trajectory.
He would be doing similar, I think, to what McDavid would be doing for sure, as far as like pace and the amount that he was going to get. But I reference you back to the Mike's Mind I did on this, which is that McDavid would at the pace he's been on in his career would have to play 27 years to.
Squad up, episode 152. This is our Ray Lewis episode. Let's get to business, fellas. All right, let's cut the game. NBA season is in full effect. We got a lot of contenders. We got a lot of pretenders. We'll go around. Everybody just name a team, and then we'll say, hey, either you're a pretender or you think this team's a contender. Jay, you're an NBA expert. Kick us off. Who are we talking about?
Knicks, pretenders, and here's why. Even though I don't buy into the regular season hype, they can't beat the best teams in the NBA. It normally pans out that if you can't get a win in the regular season, these teams play at a higher level in the playoffs. So I don't think the Knicks have it in them to win a 7-game series against any of the best teams in the East. So as soon as they hit that harder matchup in the semis, whether that's going to be Boston or whether it's going to be Cleveland, it's going to be one of those teams. That's going to be the demise of their season at that point, and I see them going out in 5 games.
Mike, you're kind of a somewhat Knicks / Halliburton type fan. Is this facts about the Knicks?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, if you take the Celtics, OKC, and the Cavs out of the NBA, they're contenders. I think they could beat almost anybody else, if not everybody else, except for they are so abysmally bad at trying to beat those 3 teams that I don't think you can call them contenders because, you know, a contender we think can win the finals, and they're going to have to beat one of them to get there, most likely. And then potentially, if they do get there, face OKC in the finals. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Wait, did you say, Jay, you said 5 games?
Yep.
Oh, so you're putting them out quickly.
Yep.
John, is Jay right about the 5 games or Knicks?
5 games in the conference finals?
Or semis, either one against the Cavs. They're going to play the Cavs or Celtics as the 4 or 3 seed.
No, I think the Knicks choke in the first round. I think they basically just don't even make it out of the first round and pull a New York Knicks and then become the Knickerbockers again.
As of now, that would mean if the standing state as is, it would be the Detroit Pistons that beat them in the first round.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of theme about
they're aggressive, dude. They're aggressive. The way they're playing, the way the Pistons are playing. I'm not saying they are the bad boys of the early '90s, but they're playing that Detroit gritty ball that they're just playing. I like it. I mean, you know me. I like aggressive ass basketball. I don't give a fuck about petty ass fouls. So I would say the Knicks out in the first round.
Knicks definitely. They're definitely pretenders. Detroit will give them hell if they play there. They definitely aren't beating the Cavs. They aren't beating the Celtics. As we've seen many times this season, when they play either of those teams, they get their ass kicked. It's not like it's even close. They get beat down when they play those type of teams. And then the other thing is, this is when they're in a fresher version of themselves. They're only going to get more tired because what does Thibs do every year? He runs teams to the ground. Then I've been hearing fans of the Knicks somewhat online saying, oh, wait till Mitchell Robinson's back. Is that really your answer? Mitchell Robinson is really supposed to be the difference of them suddenly be good enough to beat the Cavs, to beat the Celtics. Not to mention Mitchell Robinson's always hurt. What's to say he doesn't come right back in and then go right back out? So, for me, the Knicks, I just look at them as pretenders this year. And I thought, I said at the time, they loved the Bridges trade, and I still thought they should have sat on stuff and waited. And I think deep down the fans would honestly admit that whether they want to or not. Mike, who you got for us?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, the Detroit Pistons putting the Knicks out in the first round, because pretender or contender, the Detroit Pistons.
For me, I would say that they are pretenders in the fact they're not going to probably get past the second round, but they're future contenders because I like a lot of what they're doing. Unfortunately for them, or fortunately, they're almost going too quick that I think it would have been almost good for them to not make the playoffs and got one more good pick and they almost went a year earlier. But I like where they're going as a team. I would like one more piece with Cade. Right now, what's really working for them is Cade. He has a bunch of shooters around that are veterans, but I would like one more younger piece that's going to grow with him. So maybe we'll see in the offseason they can go get one more. And I think that'd be their big, the change for them. John, you kind of already spoke on them, so I'm guessing you. Well, I don't know. How do you feel about them in this case? You kind of spoke about liking their gritty ball.
They remind me of the Atlanta Hawks maybe 4 years ago, how they beat the Knicks in the Garden in 5 games. And that's the team that I see coming to New York, basically beating the Knicks, shocking the world, but also then getting bounced out of the playoffs the next round. So I'm with you on that. I think they're going to be a pretender after they beat the Knicks.
Jay, what about you?
It's kind of hard to say like a team coming in as such a huge underdog can be considered a pretender, because the whole concept is that they're the underdogs. They're probably like the sweethearts of the NBA playoffs if they make it at that point. Who's not cheering for Detroit? Even if you have a dog in the fight at that point, you're like, man, I just want to see these young cats do good. Bickerstaff is building this thing from the ground up. So I would say that like they can contend to flirt with winning a series, but pretenders in terms of if we're talking win a title, they're a couple years away.
Mike, it was your question.
Yeah. I think you guys are right on the money. Like, they're a team that can shock somebody like the Knicks in the first round. I think they're young and they're hungry and they're playing with house money at this point, in the sense of like they weren't supposed to be here. They weren't supposed to be this good. But at the same time, I think this current Pistons team is playing at its highest level. This is what their peak is. So I would say, right, they're pretenders at the moment. They may win a first round series and then get beat by more experienced teams like the Cavs or Celtics. But definitely down the road contenders I think is very accurate to what you guys said.
Got you. All right, let's go with the Memphis Grizzlies. They've kind of bounced around. They were a 2 seed. Currently, they're sitting at 4 at the time it's recording, but the West is in a lot of fluctuation there. John.
Yeah, I think they're a contender. I think they've proven they did what they needed to do in the offseason to go surround Ja, and obviously they got the key piece back in Ja. I think without him last year, it proved that they're a pretender team, but they went and got themselves a great draft class, got them good free agencies, so I say they're contender.
Mike, what about the Grizz?
Yeah, so I think they got like getting off to a hot start and being able to gel quickly was very good for them. I'm going to call them a pretender, only not because of their lack of talent, because I don't think they have a lack of talent. I think they are a good team. It's just when you compare them to some of the other teams in the West, I don't think they're going to stack up as it gets into crunch time. I like what they're doing. Again, I think it's kind of like the Pistons, except for the Grizzlies, I would say, are a little further ahead in the sense of like they're ready to be a contender for multiple years. But this year, I'm going to say they're right now a pretender.
For me, the Grizz, they're a pretender. And why they're a pretender? As much as I love John Moran, I enjoy watching him play. The guy plays 2 games, then he gets out for 2, then he plays for 3, then he's out for 1. He's going in and out the lineup too much, and realistically, every year we get to the playoffs, there's a couple big injuries. I'm not trying to wish an injury on Ja, but the pace we're moving, I just can't realistically expect him to be there for the entire playoffs. So that being said, you take him out the equation, and they've done a good job of weathering the storm with him in and out, but you're only going to go as far as you start. I would love for someone to give me the example of the team that went ahead and made the NBA Finals while their best player was hurt. I can't think of any. And again, it's similar to the Kawhi Leonard type thing. You can be as good as you want to in the regular season, but are you going to be available when we get to the playoffs and we really need you to be there? Jay, I know you're taking your Grizz.
No, I'm not actually. I'm spinning off of what you said because I agree that Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane can't carry this team if Ja is out. They're great players and they're great on the defensive side. And here's the thing that's strange about this team. At one point in the season, they were the only team ranked in the top 7 for offensive and defensive ratings. So you say, well, that's great. That's normally what you want to see in a contender. But when you compare that record of what's happened over the last 10 games, they played, I think, about 25 games of being teams over 500. They started off great, but over the last 10 games, they've only won like 2 of them. So now they're barely at 500. I want to say maybe 12-13 or 13-12. So if you're telling me that's their record against the better teams and who are obviously playoff contenders as well, once again, I don't buy into regular season equals playoffs, but you got to show me a little more fight against the good teams in the regular season so I could pronounce you to be a contender right now. That team's missing one piece, and I'm not sure what that one piece is. Maybe a push for Jimmy Butler might have been smart, because I would think a player like that might have been their missing piece, but they're missing one piece.
Well, remember, they wanted to go for Butler, but Butler, when he first said, I'll go anywhere but Miami, Memphis was the first team rumored to go for him. He immediately jumped up and said, I want to go to Memphis. I don't know why, but he immediately said he didn't want to go there. Yeah. I agree. I thought they needed to go put one more piece in to maybe somebody else who can handle the ball outside of Ja consistently, and they didn't get that, and that's part of why, again, if Ja's not there, I'm just not really digging with that team. Mike, it's spring training. Your Yankees, are they pretenders or contenders this year?
I'm going to say contenders. There are definitely questions on the roster, but I don't think there's some, other than the Dodgers, there's not really any team that doesn't have questions coming into spring training and isn't going to have some questions coming out of spring training. I think they've put together what ended up being a pretty good offseason, as far as, like, the highlight was that they didn't get Juan Soto for a lot of people. But the thing is like John and I have said this before, you have to look at where they spent the money they would have spent on Soto, and they went and got Max Fried, who was the number one left-hand pitcher on the market. They went and traded for Cody Bellinger, who looks like he can still be maybe not the MVP that he was, but still a very good player. You're hoping Jason Dominguez continues to improve. You're hoping Anthony Volpe continues to improve. Austin Wells. They've got a lot of good pieces, and they've bolstered the bullpen as well with Devin Williams. So I think they can be contenders. We'll just see if anybody can match up against the Dodgers.
Got you. Now, for John, I know if we were talking NFL, you would say absolutely you would never want to play for the Dallas Cowboys, right?
No. Well, if they paid me.
Okay. Unless they're playing crazy. Okay.
And I don't give a fuck about my fucking teams.
I think if we were NFL in this, everybody would pretty much all say the Cowboys. Okay, so let's say this was hockey, and I asked you, John, what franchise in the current position they're in now would you say, absolutely not, I'm not going to play in that franchise?
You're not going to play for them?
You are not playing for that franchise in the NHL currently. It's similar to what I just said with Jimmy Butler saying, nope, don't send me to Memphis. You're on the trade block. You're like, absolutely not going here.
Honestly, not to shit on Mike, but New York Rangers. That whole organization's in a downward spiral. It's been like that for the last decade and a half. I mean, when you trade away 3 of your captains in a decade, or a little over 12 years, it shows not very good faith in the upper management. So I don't think the players are the problem. I think the upper management and the GM, which is Chris Drury.
Yes.
And ultimately, when you look at that franchise, they should have 3 to 4 rings right now, and they have squandered every single time they've come to the Cup. So again, not shitting on Mike's Rangers, but ultimately, I wouldn't want to be a part of that team. And if you gave me the C, I'd give it right back, because that means I'm getting traded in a year or two, because they can't. That's what that means in that organization. I mean, look at Ryan Callahan, Ryan McDonough, and then now Jacob Trouba. And I don't give a shit what you say. You don't trade away your captain. I don't give a fuck what people say about Trouba. You don't trade away your captain. And I don't like all this hearsay from the media that I keep getting. Sorry, Mike, but I don't believe any of the bullshit that I hear. I don't believe any of the bullshit I hear. Once you put the C on the guy for a reason, because he's leader in the locker room, leader of them, and it's mostly voted on by the team versus the coaching staff. So when you put the C on the guy, that shows a lot of admiration from the team, and from players to staff to GM, everything of that sort. So I can't get behind a franchise that just basically just says, "Oh, you wear the C, see you later." It's like almost like Pittsburgh saying, "All right, Sid, you're gone," and I keep hearing these rumors that he's gone, and it's like, no. He's not going anywhere. He's going to retire a Penguin.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, that was our Shit on Mike segment, sponsored to you by Charmin. Charmin, feel free to
seriously
when we shit on Mike's team, because we always have to shit on one of Mike's teams at least once per episode. So thank you, Charmin, for that sponsorship. Jay, what team do you want to shit on and say you want to go to?
They deserve it, by the way, and so it's not a...
Sorry, Trey, say that again.
What team do you want to shit on and say you would not go to in the NHL?
In the NHL,
Yes.
more for the sake of just not wanting to have to live there are the Sabres. I mean, I feel like the Sabres have been trying for such a long time to be relevant, and it just seems like they find themselves at the bottom of the standings perennially all the time, except for a fluke year a couple of years ago where I think they edged their way into the playoffs. But I feel like that franchise just, they're third or fourth tier in their state, right? They're never going to be above the Rangers. They're never going to be above the Devils, the Islanders, with all their struggles, still find a way to come out of their struggles and end up with a roster last year that had some potential in the year before. So I feel like it sucks that you're fourth fiddle in your own state, and it just seems like you're never going to be able to climb out of that spot. So I wouldn't want to, pause in the damn league, pause in your own state, you're the fourth best team. Like, nah, bro, I'm not trying to be on a team that's struggling forever to get some kind of relevance.
Wasn't always like that.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I was
they
gonna
were
say, I
they were
remember
good at
the
one
year
They
point.
were they were dominant in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, last
Dominator.
10, 15 years have been shit.
Yeah, they've been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, we talked about this franchise maybe a month ago, and I don't want to be the Utah Hockey Club because A, the fucking name sucks. B, the Utah Wasatch or whatever they want to become. I don't want to pay for a team like that. C, the team sucks and they're pretty much failing franchise. And D, I don't want to play for any place, Salt Lake City, that had the honor of sticking their chest on being proud to have Karl Malone play their building. That means if I play there, that means I have to look up every night and see Karl Malone's jersey hanging from the rafters. I have not. That is uninspiring to me. If I was sitting there and I was getting on the ice and they were like doing the national anthems, I look up, I'm getting amped for the game, I look up, I'm like, oh, there's Karl's jersey. I'm just gonna be a bum tonight. So absolutely, it is the Utah Hockey Team Club, whatever franchise they decide they want to name that team is my answer.
What about when they get a new arena?
I don't want to be in a city where Karl Malone was being floundered around and people were saying, oh, look at Karl. He's such a great citizen. Oh, there's Karl Malone's hot dog diner or whatever restaurants he's probably opened up in that city. So, no, I have zero interest. One of my goals in life is to go to every NBA arena at some point. I've done a good job of checking off a decent amount of boxes. I can tell you right now, Utah will be the last one. That'll be like, I got no choice. I guess I finished everything. Maybe by then they would have moved to Utah Jazz.
No, we're gonna take you way out your comfort zone. We'll take you to Utah. We'll make it a snowboarding trip. You'll just learn to hate Utah so much you never want to go back ever again.
I even skipped All-Star Weekend in Utah, and I used to go to All-Star Weekend every year. So that tells you what time it is with me in Utah.
True.
In Utah, feel free to take any offense. Mike, feel free to go ahead and say the Pittsburgh Penguins because of Sidney Crosby, or feel free to say the Detroit Red Wings to shit on John so you can get your revenge. Where don't you want to go?
Oh, he definitely won't say the Devils.
No, actually, I won't say the Devils because that's a little too obvious. And as far as their current, I mean, the Devils, I guess, are kind of like the Cowboys. I mean, if they pay me, I guess I'll go. Sabotage them from within.
I guess I'll go.
I guess I'll go.
I
guess I'll play in the NHL.
How much did the Rangers ever give you? So how much did the Eagles ever pay me? Nothing. So if the Cowboys said, "Okay, here's $50 million a year to go play football," I'll put a star in my head.
Yeah,
you paid them
on my chest.
I'll slap that bitch right off your head, knock you back in reality.
No, they pay me $50 million. I don't see the Eagles paying me that.
They put that star on your head.
I mean, I'm never gonna win and get totally killed, but
getting paid.
All right, Mikey, the suspense is killing me because I thought you were about to shit on the Devils.
No, I'm not gonna shit on the Devils because of it. Taking my Rangers fandom out of it, the Devils are not as an organization, are not in a too bad of a position. They just lost Jack Hughes to an injury, which sucks, but they have some good players. So where I wouldn't want to play right now is the San Jose Sharks. Yes, they just got Macklin Celebrini, who's the first overall pick, but there's a reason why they were the first overall pick. Mm-hmm. They have been very bad ever since Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau left the team. Joe Pavelski's been gone long enough that he's had a lot more success in Dallas than he ever did in San Jose. And I'm sorry. I mean, I talked to Jay about it when we were at the Lightning Flames game. We were talking about jerseys. There's also a particular, I don't want to wear the current Sharks jersey because goddamn is that too much teal. They decided we're going to revamp our jerseys and we're going to take almost all of the secondary color out. We're just going to wear teal all the time. And I've thought there was no reason to try to ever fix their old jerseys that they've had the last 2 versions of the jersey. There was no reason to try to fix them, but we got to do something new. So it's just awful. They're a bad team. They're terrible. They couldn't even Macklin Celebrini, who's supposed to be their franchise player, they couldn't even keep him healthy. He got hurt in the first week of the season. He's back now.
It's not that bad of a jersey.
I don't like it. It's too much. It is too much teal to me.
It's not terrible. You just missing the black. All you're missing is just the black on the shoulders from before.
Okay,
no, that's it.
Well, then but we didn't need to take the black off the shoulders.
Mike
and frankly, we didn't need to change it from what it was when we were growing up with the original Thornton and Marlowe, which was a little bit of a darker teal, more black, more gold.
You mean this one?
Yeah, that one.
I mean, it looks exactly the same as the one that I'm looking at.
No, it's way brighter now.
I'm not
way brighter, and there's way more.
I don't think it's too bad. I think there's worse jerseys.
Well, to each their own. But
that's
like,
fire.
I don't like.
I'm all black guy.
No, that's good. The black
Mike doesn't like black. It's all good.
So Mike's about the fashion, it seems, right?
No, they're.
He don't like the black jerseys.
Organization. Yes, Mike is the fashion police.
He said he hated the Eagles all black jersey. So
I did not. I said they're your best.
No, we actually
talking about the Super Bowl.
We said quite the opposite with the All Blacks.
Yes.
Fire. Best uniform in football.
One of the best. The best.
That's a fire ass jersey though.
Again, yes, that's fine. The grays are fine. Those are all old jerseys. Every one that you're saying is a fire jersey are ones they decided to go away from.
Yeah. All right, Trey, what'd you say?
John, how are you feeling about the Ovechkin pursuit of Gretzky's record?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's cool that he's gonna get it. It's kind of like LeBron getting the points. It's due because I think a lot of people always said that the Gretzky's records would never be touched, and the way they hyped up Ovechkin and Crosby. So the way I see it with Ovechkin ultimately is like it's about time that someone broke that record and it's the right person to break it. I think McDavid will ultimately then break Ovechkin's record, but I don't know how much. I mean, it's kind of like LeBron. Like everyone keeps saying Ovechkin's going to leave or do whatever, but he's still playing at a very high level for being 41 years old, 40 years old, or something like that. And he said he's still got a lot left in his tank. So, I mean, I don't know how much outreach he's going to put McDavid when he's done, but it's pretty impressive to see. I think Crosby would be right there if he didn't have those 4 years of concussions. Crosby probably would have broke the points or been at least closest to the points just based on the way his trajectory of his career would have went. But I think it's pretty cool. I always like to see records. I think records are meant to be broken. I think it's cool when you see a player of his caliber finally break it. Now, if it was a guy that played for like Jaromir Jagr, if Jaromir Jagr broke it, I would be like, that I'm pissed because like he just played for every franchise. He's still a Hall of Famer. Don't get me wrong. I like Jaromir Jagr, but he played for like 40 years. So Ovechkin did it in 23. Like I guess it's similar, but I think when you look at Ovi, I mean him and Crosby have been the pinnacle of NHL the last 25 years. That's who you want to break it.
I'm talking about LeBron, as you made a reference at 1 second. All hail the king, LBJ, for being the first player ever to 50,000 points in a career. Big up the man himself.
No one can. Let's go back to Ovi.
Perhaps. Something that we never, ever. We're talking about a record that can be broken, you said, by McDavid. I don't think anybody touches 50,000 ever, especially as the NBA goes to a shortened format. Then that's it. It's cemented in history.
To be fair, I don't think anybody's ever touching Gretzky's points. I mean,
I think Crosby was the closest. I think, and his trajectory.
He would be doing similar, I think, to what McDavid would be doing for sure, as far as like pace and the amount that he was going to get. But I reference you back to the Mike's Mind I did on this, which is that McDavid would at the pace he's been on in his career would have to play 27 years to catch him.
That's not ultimately out of reach.
No, but that's playing until he's in his mid-40s. He'd have to pull a Gordie
Yeah,
Howe
I mean, look at Ovi right now. He's 23.
with no drop in production at all.
Ovi's in his 23rd season and has been averaging almost 100 points a season. So, I mean, it's not I'm saying it's not out of reach for a guy like that because they're in different categories than any other player in the NHL.
I know, but he's going to have to put up at least a couple 200-plus point seasons like Gretzky did. I mean, Gretzky had 4 of them.
I mean, Connor's still.
I think he does.
Connor's still 26 years old.
Oh no, I don't disagree. But I'm saying it is going to take a long, a historic career.
I just think he has the best shot to do it.
He does 100%.
When you say 27 years in the NHL, I mean that's not unheard of. I mean, we're going to see Ovi get to that and probably still put up 50 to 100 points a season, which is. Yeah. I mean, his production is not. It's just like LeBron, and no one's talking about it on these channels. His production is exactly like LeBron is doing for the Lakers at the same age, and no one's talking about it. So you going in is like, I'm watching this guy skate, and he's skating just as quick as he was 5 years ago, and it's like, what the fuck? How's he getting better? Like, how's his shot getting faster? His slap shot's still over 95 miles an hour. He's still producing at a very high level for being 41 years old. He's the reason why the Capitals are in a playoff hunt right now. He's one of the main points. So, like, when you look at LeBron. He's 41, averaging almost 30 points a game. So, no one's talking about that. But it's the record is great, Trey. But I think what people are missing is the fact that he's doing exactly kind of what LeBron's doing. If you look at their stats, obviously it's not. But it's like eerily similar. So we look at a guy like that. It's like I don't know what more of this guy's going to slow down. So
yeah, it's more that not that he can't. I don't think he will play that much longer.
Yeah, we'll see.
Physically, I think he can, and talent-wise, I think he can. I just don't know if he will.
Fact check. 9 seasons of 50-plus goals, but only 4 seasons, 3 of 100 points early in his career.
Who?
Ovechkin.
That's because he was the goal scorer. He wasn't distributing as much.
We once talked about the legend Aaron Rodgers. People said Jay looked like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is on his last leg. He's a free agent right now, or will be, after he gets cut. We'll go around really quick because the NFL free agents starting. We're starting to get some of the deals. Max Crosby just got paid. We've had a couple people ask out for trades and whatnot. Jay, your Bucks. What is one free agent move you want to see your Bucks do this offseason?
At one point, I was kind of sold on maybe. I don't know how healthy Godwin was going to be. We kind of saw that that hurt us in the playoffs. So, possibly I was like, hey, Tyreek sounds great. Like maybe we could bring Tyreek in and maybe we can deal Godwin now. I mean, I think teams might be a little bit hesitant and be like, I don't know if that's the right move. Though I know we have young receivers, but I like to bring in someone who's proven already, who is a solid target, who doesn't have to still kind of like find their groove in the NFL and kind of earn their respect. I feel like Tyreek attracts enough attention whenever he's on the field, whether he's playing great or not. And we've seen him really suffer more on the hands of his quarterback than on the demise of him not still being a great skill player or. But we really need an edge rusher. Like the Bucks need to be able to get to the quarterback more often. The Yaya Diaby experiment hasn't worked the way they were hoping it would work. So right now, I think they have to go out there and just try and find the best available edge rusher, whoever that might be. I know they're probably not going to be able to get the best free agent available, but in terms of filling a need in a position, I'm not sure there's a player out there right now that can really fit the bill for us. I don't think we should go ahead and experiment and try and get that in the draft either. I'd like to have a guy once again who's already dominant at that position or semi-dominant or tracking to be a great rusher. But we really need somebody who could put pressure on the quarterback. And that's because it's just going to get better. Our division is going to keep getting better. They gave Bryce another chance and he's proven it. Who knows what's going to happen in New Orleans, but it seems like Penix is the guy there right now. So the quarterback play is getting better in our division. And we need to be able to pressure.
I find it funny that you say they gave Bryce another chance. It's like the motherfucker had 1 year and they traded away every single opportunity for targets for him. It's so funny that's the motto nowadays in the NFL. It's like, oh, they give him another chance. Yeah, you traded away 3 of his receivers.
No, I'm saying is that
best running back in that
I
league.
thought he might have been gone. Like I thought he wouldn't get a chance to come back in and play for Carolina. So
I know. I just find it. I'm not saying you. I'm saying how
No, you're not saying you're
the
wrong.
mantra in the NFL now is like, if you don't come in as your first round draft pick and win a Super Bowl and become a Hall of Fame quarterback in your first season and throw for 47,000 yards and 47 touchdowns and all these, it's just wild to me. That's the mantra nowadays.
Also, didn't they fire his first head coach after like 4 games?
correct.
Is that how long Reich lasted?
It was longer than that. It was like week 12 or
It was
something.
No, I was early.
It was
No,
early, but
it was like week 12. They gave him at least 12 weeks.
I don't think they did. Hold on.
Mike,
Fact check this.
you were
No,
once
of course
quoted
you're right.
on our Twitter handle, Single Squad Pod 05. Make sure y'all go like, comment, subscribe. You were once quoted as saying, "My New York Giants need everything." So, what is one big thing or one big person that you would want to see them pursue this offseason?
I mean, yes, they need everything, but I'm going to keep screaming this from the mountaintops until this fucking team listens. You need an offensive line to protect whoever you put at quarterback. So Ronnie Stanley, he went to the University of Notre Dame. He needs to join the Giants. Andrew Thomas, I don't care whether he's at left tackle or right tackle. You put Ronnie Stanley at the other one, and you protect the hell out of your quarterback, and whoever you have at running back, probably Tyrone Tracy. But for the love of God, what does this team not understand about the fact that over the last 20 to 30 years, the 2 best offensive lines they have had in that time frame are the 2 seasons that they won the Super Bowl? I don't understand what the loss in translation here is. I don't get it.
What are you talking about? The Giants?
Yes, the 2 best offensive lines they've had in the last 20 to 30 years are the 2 years they won the Super Bowl.
Jay, they had the Hard Knock series, and it was ironically Mike's Giants we were just talking about last year. They did a little off-season Hard Knock. So the word on the street is they try to go to every NFL team. No team absolutely want to do it because of the shit show that Mike's Giants was. This, by the way, this was sponsored, by the way, by let's not go Charmin this time. Let's go Angel Soft. This shit on Mike's team is by Angel Soft. No team wanted to do it. So what they're doing this year is they are going to follow Bill Belichick and his UNC Tar Heels after the Giants shit show. Are you going to watch off-season UNC Tar Heels Bill Belichick edition?
He'll only watch if he gets to see Bill's girlfriend.
Just as much as I'm gonna watch the Real Housewives, which is close to fucking 0% chance.
You were watching that this afternoon.
My time, no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like already I'm through with all 19 seasons of that, about 106 episodes. I'm already cooked on that. Hell no, bro. What the hell do I care about UNC football or Bill Belichick right now? I couldn't give 2 craps. Like John said, if you're following him and his girl on the town, taking, like, what's the day in the life like Bill Belichick, and the camera just kind of stays focused on her, I still wouldn't watch that shit. Fuck it. I ain't watching that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, speaking of winning teams, we have one. Oh, Mike, what you got?
Oh, I was going to say, apparently Bill Belichick doesn't want to do either. I thought I had read this earlier today, and yeah, they backed out.
Oh, they backed out. Okay.
Yeah, the deal fell through.
That is fell through. So maybe they just won't do this. Speaking of winners, John's team, there's the current defending champ.
Yes, sir.
To go back to back, you have to still make improvements. What
Yes,
would
sir.
you want to see your team do this offseason? First, one big move you want to see in free agency.
I thought we already did it with getting Zach Bond today.
I mean, that could be a big move.
That was a big move, but moving forward, the next big move is re-signing Mekhi Becton, keeping that core unit of the offensive line. If we re-sign him, that means Lane Johnson will be the only player that we have to replace. That means you're keeping 4 guys under 30 at your offensive line with a quarterback that is 25 years old. So you're keeping a very young offensive line who meshes very well and who is the best offensive line in the NFL. We saw it this past year. And the biggest, heaviest offensive line in Super Bowl history of over 1,800 pounds. So, if we only have to replace Lane, you can't, right? So you can't replace that. You can't replace Lane Johnson. What you're going to have to do is just substitute. and just find, but to be able to find 2 good offensive linemen is harder than finding one. So I would say probably is re-signing Mekhi Becton. There's not a lot of pieces. I mean, Howie is doing a magical job of re-signing guys and pushing guys. I think, getting rid of Slay. As much as I love big play Slay, he's just lost a step. So they may bring him back on a vet deal, but I don't see it. So yeah, I'm gonna say
If
off.
they bring him back, he probably going to safety anyways. If they do,
They
I
have
would
to.
assume.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's the thing. We got 2 young safeties, C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed. He'd probably come off the bench, probably.
No, but he would be just your first
backup.
safety off
Yeah,
or
your third safety. Yeah,
certain dime package.
he would have
stuff
to
like
because he got beat. He
that.
got torched last year.
No, yeah, I mean this happens to corners. That's just part of being a corner. For my Steelers, it was, and I said this at the beginning of the year last year. I said it during the season. I thought we had the worst receiving core in football, so we have to figure out a way to address the receiver issue. Not a free agent move, but first off, DK Metcalf is now out here as a possible option. I don't give a damn what you got to do. Go make the shit happen. I'm still not necessarily huge on bringing Pickens back. If we bring him back, fine. But I would love to get DK Metcalf. It may cost you a second-round pick. It may cost you a third-round pick. Let's get the dope in the room. So I would love that. As far as free agency, I still would want to go draft receiver, but I still want to at least get another veteran. Maybe something that won't cost you a crazy amount of money. So we'll take this over to New York, where Giants, they had Slayton. At one point, the Steelers were rumored to possibly look at Darius Slayton in the offseason or as a possible trade target, but they ended up doing the Mike Williams trade. The reason I like Slayton, he can play a couple different positions. He's an adult in the room. Usually gets his 600-700 yards. You're not asking for a lot. What you need is a veteran adult who can be a little bit versatile and has been pretty consistent. So I would love to see a move like that. It's not going to cost you too much. It's not going to break the bank. He's not a guy who's going to be out here saying, I'm not getting the ball enough and out here making a fit. I mean, for God's sake, the guy sat out here with Daniel Jones fucking running around and just running freely for years. The least we can do is put him out there with Justin Fields, or if we decide to do. So for me, I would love for them to go pursue DK, go pursue Slayton. Something else I want to quickly shout out too, because we're talking about connections of me and Mike's teams. This week, the Guardians, or last week, the Guardians lost their owner, Dolan. He unfortunately passed away. He lost their owner. The link between my team and Mike's team is,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, 94.
94. Yeah, he passed away. I was the owner of the Indians/Guardians franchise. The link to Mike's team is, well, that is cousin of those Dolans. The other link between Mike's teams is, at one point, we had a guy named Gaylord Perry play for the Cleveland Indians. Earlier, Mike told me he had something on his mind regarding Gaylord Perry.
Yes. So, Gaylord Perry managed to have himself a long career in the MLB. He pitched 21 years. A lot of it for the San Francisco Giants. So, a while back, former Giants manager Alvin Dark was talking about Gaylord Perry's ability to hit, specifically saying, quote, they'll put a man on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits a home run. Well, on July 20th, 1969, Gaylord Perry hit his first career home run in the major leagues. Exactly 20 minutes after Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon.
If one chooses to believe so.
I have breaking news.
What is our breaking news?
The Los Angeles Chargers have released Joey Bosa.
Ooh, come to town.
Wow.
So does that change anybody's answers?
Yeah, come on down.
I thought it coming out.
What is great?
Well, Jay, you were just talking about a defensive end.
Well, maybe Jay, yeah. And he's a 4-3 DN at heart. So
we need everything. So sure, he can join Ronnie Stanley too, and Nick Bolton. I would also like them to go get Nick.
Hey,
Bolton.
the truth, like we're one of the worst teams to get in the pass. I could definitely see them going out and not breaking the bank, but I could see them going out and definitely probably trying to get more button up at that position. I don't think they could afford anybody big. I don't know. Maybe your ex-boy Devin Bush. Maybe I don't know who's available. I think he might be, but
Josh Sweat is.
I was going to say Josh Sweat might actually be
unfortunately.
Somewhat. You
fuck.
Actually that's what, as far as guys to replace for you, John. I actually was curious about that. So you got to essentially, quote unquote, replace Josh Sweat, since it sounds like you're not bringing him back. and Brandon Graham. So
Well, Brandon Graham's already been replaced by Nolan Smith.
Okay, so Nolan Smith's
So
already
you got
replaced
one,
Brandon Graham, but is there anybody in house now that can replace Sweater, or you think they should go get somebody?
Well, the way they were running the defense this year, I mean, they were running a 3-3-3-4. So realistically, I mean, they were running Nolan Smith on the outside and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis on the inside. It was weird, but it was a 3-4-2 defensive tackle, which I've never seen before in my watching football. But Jalen Carter's kind of a hybrid end / tackle. I mean, he's putting 390-pound linemen on their ass like it's nothing. So yeah,
and then getting to the quarterback and
I mean, honestly, like the best target right now, and honestly, and I'm not just saying this because it's the Eagles, but everything that I read right now and everything that I'm seeing as like trade and makes sense is for the Browns to trade Garrett to the Eagles, just because it just makes sense. We'll give the Browns another pick for the first round, a 5th round, and next year's 2nd round. I think was the I guess the trade package, but it would just make sense for them to go get Myles Garrett alongside that phenomenal defensive line.
Sure. Let's have the defending Super Bowl champs go and get the absolute best available free agent on the market.
Who was I talking? Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone today. My barber, and my barber Ruben, and he was saying how like he's like, yeah, right? He goes, yeah, but I heard that like Myles has been falling off. I'm like, well, if a guy is averaging 18 sacks a year, I mean,
and that's his
I'm
fall
okay.
off.
I'm okay with him falling off.
Yeah. No, I've seen everything I've seen about Garrett has been that it's either going to be the Eagles or Lions that sell out draft pick package wise to get him.
No, somebody's going to sell draft pick wise to have to do this. I mean, and like you said, if he's got to turn back the clock and go from 18 sacks and try to get back to 20, then that's great for him at that point.
Yeah.
Speaking of turning back the clock, we've been doing this the last couple weeks. This time, it's John's time. I think I have a gut feeling of at least one of the teams that he would turn back the clock with in the matchup time machine of college basketball. So, John, where are you taking it this week?
Just because people want to shit on Syracuse so damn much, and we have one guy below me that wants to shit on Syracuse and say they're not a perennial program. They are a perennial program. I'm going to go with the 1986-87 Syracuse Orange Men at the time, who lost on a buzzer beater to Indiana in the national championship game, versus the 2002-2003 Syracuse Orange. I know it's going way back. No one watched that game. I mean, I've watched that.
Jay did. Jay watched it. Jay was there. Jay actually.
It was on his.
I mean, legit. Jay was alive.
Jay, who do you got? Give us some insight on this matchup.
Now, one has not DeJuan Coleman.
Derek Coleman.
Derek Coleman. One has Carmelo Anthony. Both were number 1 picks.
Correct. But oddly enough, Sherman Douglas is the better player on that team.
Agreed.
It's just Derek obviously projected to be a better NBA player. So, yeah, when I watched that game, the 86-87 team was impressive. They had a great run in the tournament. They were a little more, I would say, based on looking at how the tournament went for them, they did have to beat a number 1 UNC in the regional finals. And then, they played 2 6 seeds. But then we look over at the 2002-2003 team. They had to beat back-to-back ones to even get a shot at the national championship. They crushed Oklahoma, and then they shit on Texas. And then Kansas was a great game. Got to know how that game went, thanks to Akeem Warwick's block in the corner and John losing his shit once he saw that happen. But it was all about Carmelo that year. Carmelo was the best player by far in college basketball. I don't know if Coleman dominated the same way. That team made basketball fun to watch. They were long, they were athletic. They showed you they can compete against anybody. And when you beat 2 number 1s in the tournament in 1 year, you're going to get the nod from me. So I'll take the more current Orange team to win over the 86-87 team. Give me the 2002-2003 team and Carmelo and Akeem Warwick to go head-to-head against Derek Coleman and Sherman Douglas. I'll take that match.
Mike.
I'll take the later Syracuse.
You are our local historian. Give us some insight. How does this matchup go?
Well, you see, back in the day. No, this is a very good matchup. This is genuinely a game that I would like to
Grandpas don't
see.
talk like that. Don't let Mikey fool you. Grandpa Jay don't talk like that. I'm legit. I don't talk like I got a frog stuck halfway down my throat. Put some respect on the old man right now, Mikey. Before I come in and snatch that cap off your head.
That's abuse.
Your cornflakes today. Yeah, seriously. We got all that
Respect
on camera.
Respect your tribal grandpa.
Hmm?
Respect your tribal grandpa.
That's right.
So, I genuinely would want to see if we could see this game. I would want to see it because I think it would be a very good game. So, okay, off the jump, Melo's going to be Melo. He's going to get his. You're not going to stop him. You're just going to have to hope to contain him. Just like I don't know if you're necessarily going to stop Sherman Douglas. I think those two being the top scorers on the team, they're going to get their points. So you look at the matchups. I mean, Derek Coleman, probably, I'm going to guess Hakeem Warwick ends up on Derek Coleman. That's a pretty good matchup. What it really came down to for me was I'm going to take the 86-87 orange because I don't see on that 02-03 team an answer in the paint for Ronnie Cycli. You're probably in the 5-on-5 matchup, you're probably most of the time putting Craig Forth on him. And yes, he's a big guy, but Cycli was also a big guy that could move, score, and was grabbing rebounds. I don't know if in the end they're going to be able to control the paint like that. If you get Melo on Cycli, yes, Melo's going to score. Cycli might be able to get a couple blocks in there against other guys. I think just the size difference and the physicality is going to end up getting a narrow win for the 86-87 team.
Really? I thought you just put Gary McNamara. Put Gary McNamara in the big man. That guy had 5 dogs in him.
I don't know who Gary McNamara.
That dude.
Well, who the fuck is Gary McNamara?
Gary.
Who's Gary?
Gary. It's Jerry.
It's
Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go down to the auto shop and go grab Gary McNamara, who's fixing up a fucking 67.
Yeah,
Mustang.
if you put a G on your name, nobody gonna say J. Motherfucker should have put a J on his name. His name is Gary.
His
Well, I
name's
don't think
Jerry.
you gotta say how to spell his
Put some
name.
respect on his name. Motherfucker was cold as hell.
Yeah.
He's the reason why they won the national championship, other than Hakeem Warwick.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. He would have guarded anybody on the floor, no matter their height. He got more dog than the whole team.
I think for me, we weren't living through the 86, 87, so I'll be quite frankly transparent with you. I remember Derek Coleman as an NBA player more. I hear about how good he was in college. I, again, remember Ronnie Cycli as a member of the Miami Heat. I remember Ronnie Cycli on the Magic. I remember playing NBA Jam and Ronnie Cycli and stuff like that, and that was all cool. But I lived out more the Melo era and all that type of thing. So at the same time, as was said before, Melo was clear-cut the best player in college at that point. So I'm going to say, assuming we have a tight matchup, I'm going to lean on the team that has the best player. And the best player in this matchup is going to be, at that point, Carmelo Anthony. So I figured Melo would have figured it out. Something else that gets underrated in these matchups is we are in a time machine. This also has to do with coaching. Well, I got to assume that Jim Boeheim, as a more seasoned and polished Jim Boeheim in 02-03, outcoaches that Jim Boeheim, who at that point was only 58 years old, not 78 years old. Because Jim Boeheim's always been an old man. He's kind of in the Morgan Freeman category where we just assumed Jim Boeheim came out with missing hair and glasses and was 60 years old from the beginning.
Was already drawing up the zone.
Yeah, he was already drawing up the zone, coming out of the womb. John's been shaking. He's been itching. Take us away.
Yeah, I mean, both teams were really great. I mean, their typical Syracuse 2-3 zone defense. I mean, Ronnie Cycli and Derek Coleman was unreal because you had 2 centers in that zone. I mean, basically, I think Cycli was 6'11", and Coleman, I think, was 7 foot or close to 6'11", around that. But, you got that length, you got the size. the one thing about the 02-03 team is they had depth. I mean, to not to disagree with Mike, Craig Forth would have been more on Derek Coleman because Derek Coleman was a little bit slower at that time. Versus Ronnie Cycler would have been with Jeremy McNeil. That was my favorite player on that 02-03 team, next to Jerry McNamara. Was Jeremy McNeil. I remember the big guy coming in. He wasn't like big, but he's 6'8", but he was size. Like, he was the big guy. And, I mean, man, that dude could just rock the rim, and he was just a force. He came in the game for Craig and would be that bully for Syracuse on that 03 team. So, but the unsung heroes on that team were Josh Pace and Billy Edelin. I mean, without them, I don't think they win the national championship or even come close. All right. I think they played Manhattan in the first game, struggled against them, and I think Billy Edelin had a huge game. Oklahoma, Josh Pace, I think, had a huge game against either Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. It was just everyone put Melo, because Melo was obviously number one player, don't get me wrong, best player on the team, but those two guys helped when Melo was struggling against Manhattan. I think he was dealing with an illness or an injury, and you had that pickup, right? If Derek Coleman had an injury or Cycli had something going on, there was only 6 guys that they rotated in that 86, 87 consistently, right, throughout the year. So I would take 02-03 just based on depth in the way you could put people in. I mean, he rotated 8 guys, and anybody that knows Syracuse men's basketball from the last 25 years, Boeheim plays 6 guys and 6 guys only. So for him to rotate 8 in that year was very impressive. And that's when we won the national championship. So for him to be able to rotate 8 and be able to win it all, you would have thought he would do it for the rest of his career.
Nope.
Me and my dad and all my friends, Pat Hughes, everybody would pull our hair out. Put the fucking guys in the game. What the fuck are you doing? 6 guys. What are you doing? So
why'd you recruit the rest of them?
02-03 I think wins, but I think it's a buzzer beater. I think it's something close like how the 86-87 team lost against Indiana, which was a heartbreak. So Syracuse should have a national, 2 national titles. Because that team should have won. I mean, it just was I think it was the full court pass and like an easy layup that one lost in the game. So,
I mean, Boeheim's similar to, I guess, Thibs in the NBA, where he's like, I'm just going to run these guys into the ground.
To the fucking ground, yep.
Yeah, and you're just going to run us into the ground. So, like you said, maybe he would have learned his lesson. Maybe it'd been a couple extras. But, I mean, shout out to those guys. Shout out to Melo, of course. Melo's a real one. So, always got to shout Melo out.
I'd shout out to the pride and joy of Beirut, Lebanon, Ronnie Cycli. So he has some roots in Lebanon. Pride and joy.
But like I was saying, we got some real ones. Ronnie Cycli, we got Melo.
That's right.
Huh?
Is it John shaking his head? I was like, that's what my granddad's from.
No, that's just a random fact that I just did not know or didn't expect for it to randomly. And the way the trade just was like, all right, well, now we know that. Now move on.
Hey,
it was so random.
So fucking
random facts.
Sorry, Mikey.
Random facts.
I don't know if you're gonna give any
random facts always.
Oh no, it's great.
Mike, you were gonna bring us a couple random teams, and we were gonna say if we thought they were a real team or a fake team.
Yes. So, little idea for a game called Real or Fake. And this week, being that it is spring training, I'm going to bring you Real or Fake. I'm going to provide you 3 teams in minor league baseball, and you got to tell me whether they're actual teams or if I just made it up. All right, first off, we have the Modesto Nuts.
These nuts
in Modesto.
Real
team or fake team?
Real.
Fake.
Well, it's not Stump the Squad, so I can't stump anybody. But Trey and John are right. This is a real team. This is the Modesto Nuts are an actual baseball team.
What level? Level 2.
Single
yes,
A.
level.
They're a single A team. I forget who they are associated with, but they are a single A team.
The Peanuts.
The Peanuts, yes. Second team we've got the Chapel Hill Raging Rams.
Fake.
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 You found me out. Yeah, well, I wish they were a real team, but they're not. I made that up.
That'd
Should be a real
fit
team.
the Raging Ram.
Raging Rams.
Raging Cajuns.
Yes. Third team, the Kannapolis Cannonballers.
Yes, that's a real team.
100%.
I would say real, but it sounds like y'all may have even heard of this.
Yes, they are a real team.
I
They
ha-
are a real
I-
single A team.
I heard of. I actually saw their logo.
yeah.
It's pretty fucking sweet.
I swear they did that just to have kids pronounce the, like what game are you going to? The Kananaballas, Kanamanalysis.
Yes, exactly. But yes, so those are three teams. You found me out. I only made up one of them, but there are entire lists of wild, especially that's why I started with minor league baseball for the first one, because it's a free for all as far as the names go.
Stay tuned next week for college hockey clubs, real or fake.
The Harvard Crimson.
No, so we'll definitely continue.
Well, depends on if you think about club as a college hockey team, because college hockey club is legit.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It's the reason why Arizona State is a D1 team now.
A very good D1.
They were smoking teams by 15 goals and won the national championship 4 years in a row. That's why they're now a Division I hockey team. Fun fact.
They're like, we got to stop this.
Jamie's a bobblehead.
Lot of fun fact. Next fun fact. Mike somehow amazingly predicted that the Cleveland Cavaliers, my Cleveland Cavaliers, would go out and beat the Boston Celtics last Friday by 7 points to be exact. So our Stump the Squad champ for last week is Mike. Your first and last one of this season.
He's so damn lucky. So damn lucky. Friggin' late foul. It was 5. Late down foul, and they scored 2 garbage time free throws. Damn it.
But the most important thing is the Cavs win the game. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
The next most important thing is I'm winning this week's Stump the Squad. Everybody's favorite time of the week.
Yes, sir, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins. Thanks for making it to this point of the show. You guys know what it is. How about you comment, like, and subscribe, and play along with us? You get 2 points if you get the question right, -2 if you get it wrong. Don't cheat. Put your phones away. See if you actually know sports trivia better than the squad. And congrats, Mike. Close one last week. We ain't gonna make it close this week. So you know I gotta throw it your way so you can start with 0.
Of course. So we talk about NFL free agency. So, gentlemen, please tell me, who was the lowest paid starting quarterback to win the Super Bowl by today's value?
Nick Foles.
Not an option. No. A, Tom Brady. B, Jim Plunkett. C, Trent Dilfer. D, Kurt Warner.
By today's age, are you saying their actual salary or what it would value?
What it would be valued today.
Tom Brady.
Warner.
Kurt Warner.
Well, this week I have successfully stumped John. It is Kurt Warner.
I would favor Tom because he's 7th round fucking pick. I mean,
Kurt was undrafted.
Undrafted, yeah.
You remember Kurt?
I know. I watched the fucking movie.
I have not seen that movie.
He's a good bagger.
I was going to say that was my sports movie last week, actually, that I should watch.
Maybe we should watch it then.
Perhaps, Michael.
Perhaps. Well, you know what? He says he's going to win this week, and we need to curtail that. Trey, you're next.
Okay, let's see. Where do I go this week? I went to the hardwood. The NBA MVP race is heating up. How many current NBA franchises have never had an MVP in its team history? 7, 8, 9, 10.
9.
You had to put that number in there, didn't you?
Of course.
Screw it. It served me well last week. 7.
And here's Jay trying to really do all the math.
Yep.
8. 8 teams.
All right. So today, gentlemen, I successfully stumped Mike and John. Jamie actually somehow counted us out. All right, time to cool down. Jay.
All right, we'll stay on the hardwood. Gentlemen, over the past 10 years, so this is since 2014, 2015, can you tell me what NBA teams has had the most road wins by a team as the underdog? So what team has the most road wins as the underdog over the last 10 years in the NBA? Is it A, the Brooklyn Nets, B, the New York Knickerbockers, C, the Chicago Bulls, or D, the Sacramento Kings?
Bulls.
Once again, your choices are Nets, Knicks, Bulls, or Kings.
Kings.
Nets.
Yeah, nothing. Nets, Bulls, Kings. Gentlemen, I have successfully stumped Trey and John. It is the Sacramento Kings.
Light the beam.
Take us home, John.
All right, Lightning just got back the reason why they won the cup in Yanni Gord.
Mm-hmm.
How many goals in his career as a How many goals does Yanni Gord have in his career as a Lightning? 75, 80, 103, 120.
103.
What was our scores?
Mike at 0, Grandpa Jay at 4. I'm out with 6 under, and Trey at 0. So you have to get it right.
Jay has to get it wrong.
Gotcha. What was our answers again?
75, 80, 103, 120. Jay said 103.
80.
Mike says 80.
75.
Dump us all.
Well, I have successfully stumped Trey and Jamie. It is 80. 80 goals. Which is surprising. He played 7 seasons, too, prior. So, I'll get it.
Oh, he played that many?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, now he's in like year 13 or something like that.
Of his career, right? See, it doesn't feel like he's been in the league that long, though. Wow.
We also played like 4 years in the AHL.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew he played a while in the AHL too, so it's like.
What number is Yanni Gord?
Well, I don't know what one he's gonna wear when he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, what, like when?
Just kidding.
Nah,
fucking meatheads. He's gonna wear the same number when he comes back.
I didn't know if anybody had taken it.
No, they kept it just for him.
All
right, hold on 1 second. Okay, so how many goals did Yanni score in his Seattle Kraken career?
Jesus.
Okay, they picked him.
And that includes this year.
Right.
32.
Who?
He said 32. I said 37.
That's your final answers?
Yeah. Final answers.
Well, looks like we have a back-to-back champion because Mike wins with 37. And you guys didn't give him much credit. He had 52 goals.
Okay, I gave him an average of about.
It was less than 15 a season, so I figured his average didn't go up in Seattle, but maybe it did.
Well, he's also been there for what, almost 4 years. He was there for.
Yeah, he only scored 80 goals.
Just 3. Just 3.
That's less. Than,
This was 3.
This was 4, but he's only been there. That's what I
mean. If he had completed this year, it would have been his 4th. That's why I was like, I think.
Yeah, but he was also been hurt all year, so.
Oh, okay. I
so Mike is the champion. Huh?
I said, put some respect on his name. Y'all going low on my man's 37 and 32. Put some damn respect on his name.
We fucking scored 80 goals in 7 years, so you figure the average wouldn't have been 10.
As a
Yeah,
third liner.
So
yeah,
what?
but and
That's
Seattle
very
does not
difficult to
have,
do.
and Seattle does not have like
You mean so
nearly
what?
the goal scorers that Tampa has.
I don't think you realize how hard that is to do.
Especially on a team that has Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, a bunch of other
Two
very
line,
good
yeah, you're not meant to score those goals.
No.
Manning the third and fourth lines. I mean, him scoring those many goals is very impressive, and the reason why they won the cups. So,
Speaking of winning,
Mr. Tampa fan. So what?
Well, speaking of winning, this week's champ ahead with a 2-0 lead right now.
Hell yeah,
is
worst
Mike.
lead in hockey.
Don't worry,
I
the
don't know,
rest of
like-
us will be back. Don't worry, the rest of us will be back very soon. We're just letting Mike go ahead, get a little bit of a lead. You know, feel comfortable with it, but we'll come back, put him in his place very soon here. But again, in the comments, make sure that if y'all want to play along, as we always say, make sure you definitely comment, like, subscribe. Make sure y'all also call out ESPN because our topics keep showing up somehow on First Take and all these other things. So make sure y'all shout them out next time when we get on Friday morning. One of our topics show up there. Make sure y'all put in the comments. No, at Cinco Squad Pod 05 said it first, and they did it better. So make sure y'all definitely comment, like, subscribe. Make sure y'all share our videos, but make sure that people don't steal our videos and steal our shine. Definitely appreciate all the support. Again, more content coming. Rotation will be back soon. We're already in spring training. As y'all saw, we started to do a little more hockey content, started to do more NBA content.
Conference
We're gonna go
tournament
to the
time,
pod.
baby. You know what time it is next week? The most exciting time in basketball begins in a week.
Conference tournament time is starting, so we're gonna get really close to start crowning some champs, and then we're gonna start crowning a real champ in a few weeks here. So definitely make sure y'all lock in with us. Like I said, Cinco Squad Pod 05. Like, comment, subscribe. As usual, Cinco Squad.